Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Michaelangelo Hamilton here on Politics and Stuff. And today we have a great interview. We are interviewing Angelica. I don't know how you pronounce your last name. Do you mind pronouncing it for me?
Dueñas, Angelica Dueñas.
Dueñas. Okay, that's cool. From California's 29th Congressional District, you're running for Congress. Prior to the,
Yes.
tell us more about yourself. Let me see if we're going live here. Let me get confirmation that we have audio.
Okay.
See, 'cause, sometimes these live feeds play around with us. So,
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Let's give it
okay,
some time.
awesome. We have audio. I just took a little quick second there to check. We do have audio. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us more about you and your campaign.
Thank you. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me here, Michaelangelo. I really do appreciate it. Well, my
No
name's
problem.
Angelica Dueñas. I am a Green Party member from Los Angeles, California. I was a former Bernie Sanders delegate, and I went green in 2017, or sorry, 20, and ever since the DNC, it's been pretty clear to me that the Democratic Party does not represent the people. So ever since I became familiarized with the Green Party platform, been touched, I realized that I thought I was an independent, right? I was never affiliated up until last year. Was as a Democrat for about 4 months. I wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems to vote for the primary, right? But ever since the GNC, it was very, very clear to me that the Democratic Party really does not have much room for correcting. I think that we need to focus on strengthening third parties and getting more access and the people. So a little bit about myself. I'm a mother. I am a daughter, a sister, born and raised in Sun Valley, California. Part of the 29th district here in California. To public schools my whole life. Up until university, there was a local nonprofit university that I attended, so I've stayed local. And I feel that more good people need to stand up and run for office. After discussing it with friends and family and a seat candidate for our district, it was apparent that we couldn't find anyone who would be willing to run. It's not easy. It really isn't.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and we're going to give it our all. And so we put our head into the ring. Right now, we are the only female-led campaign for the 29th district. So we're very proud of that. We're hoping to get more Latinas people of color in office. And this is our attempt here in Los Angeles. Like I mentioned, I went to school locally. I have a bachelor's degree in political science, public administration. I got that at Cal State Los Angeles. I also have a master's degree in organizational leadership. I earned that locally as well at Woodbury University in Burbank, where actually Kenneth Mejia attended, and he, I believe, got his bachelor's there. So I have also been a part of my community. I've been an active member in my neighborhood council since I believe it was 2010. 2010. I held 2 terms as president. I held 1 term as first vice president and a second vice president in the neighborhood council. I am now in the council still, but I am a board member. I'm not a part of the executive council at the moment. But I am a person who feels that our community has a lot of potential. We have so many good people who are will stand up and support our campaign. So we're really enthusiastic of where our campaign can go, and we are just getting started. As you know, we don't have a site yet, but we're working on that. And the next couple of weeks, we'll have that ready to go. We do have our Facebook page, we have our crowd pack page together already, and we will be having a kickoff for our campaign before the end of the month, and things will be getting started. Teams are getting formed of volunteers, and things are just picking up. We're very excited.
Awesome. That's very inspiring. You got a lot of stuff going on over there. So tell us
We
about
do, we do.
California. Awesome. So tell us about California, how that works over there. Is there any important issues that you want to get out to our viewers about California, about your
Well, as
district?
far, yeah, well, we can start off with how the elections work here in California. First, there's a primary, and then there's the runoff. Ever since I want to say 2012, we've had the top two, bless you, the top two
Thank you.
system, where you have a bunch of folks running at the primary. You can have multiple Democrats, multiple, there's no real structure to the primary, and then the top two make it over to the general. So you can have, two Democrats or two Republicans going, off at the general. That's how it works. We have our race is going to be going up against Tony Cárdenas, who is the incumbent. Tony, he
Can you
has
hear me?
spoken up for the people. Oh yeah, can you hear me?
I
Sorry,
can hear you good. All right.
I usually have audio issues, so I apologize. Um,
No problem.
Tony Cárdenas is a corporate Democrat. He's funded by the big oil, by big pharma. He
Oh,
has not stood up for single payer, and it's bad. He will not be standing up for immigration rights either. He has a very defeatist attitude when it comes to Trump America, and he feels that this is how it is and that there's not much we can do. I disagree with. Right now is the time for us to stand up and make our voices heard and speak for our community and speak for those who can't. So that is why our campaign has decided to make a run for the 29th district, and we're hoping that we can go ahead and touch upon the issues that matter to the people: immigration rights, LGBTQI plus liberation, single free college, healthcare, a school as a right, rather, higher education as a right, public college for free for students, so that way when they graduate, they don't reach amount of debt before they can even get started. That's no way to start in the workplace. We want to end homelessness. Here in the 29th district, we have a big problem with homelessness. We would like to get a year-round shelter. We would like to have more student housing. Right now, we have a huge problem, and it comes down to a lack of affordable housing and a lack of access to mental health benefit services. We have a huge amount of homeless people here in the 29th district because they've been pushed out of other areas and into
mhm.
ours, whether from other cities, other areas, and come down to it, from other places in the country. When folks are having to deal with homelessness in the zero environment, that's dangerous. So we do end up having folks from other areas that come make their way over to California, and so we want to help them. We want to make sure that we can get them the help that they need, get them access to affordable housing, access to mental health services, access to job training, and most importantly, permanent housing. These folks do not want to leave all their belongings for a couple of days worth of shelter in a hotel, and that's all they're getting is vouchers here.
Oh my. So there's a large homeless problem in California. I think I heard about that.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Unfortunately so. And it comes down to the lack of access to affordable housing. We have some one bedroom apartment, $1,200. And when the minimum wage is $12 an hour, that's impossible. That's impossible for any person to be able to afford to survive. So we have working multiple jobs, using to simply live in their car because of their inability to afford the rent. And then the criminalizing of sleeping in your vehicle in our city. So the problem is not going away. They're not addressing the issue. They're addressing the symptom, and they're just pushing these folks out of their vehicles because they end up losing their properties, and now they're streets. So this problem is not going away. It's actually getting worse, and we would love to be able to address that.
Right, right. And there's a lot of issues. So you're talking about, the current incumbent. So like he's taking big sugar money, or he's like taking a lot of like big money interest type of money.
And you broke up a little bit, but yes, he has been getting corporate funding. If you take a look at his fundraising pages or the FEC page where the funding's coming from, it's very clear that most of his funding comes from big donors or corporate donors. You can see that it's the healthcare industry, big oil, developers in the area,
Oh my.
Indian, I mean, the list goes on of these giant entities. The car dealership industry, we kind of have a strip in our district where there's a lot of car dealerships. And, they've been supporting him ever since he was our city council person. So it's very clear that Tony is unfortunately a corporate Democrat. He is not the best person to represent the people here in our district.
Right, that is true. I mean, there's a lot of issues that you're bringing up here, and how long has he been serving? As the congressional, incumbent of your area? Uh, has it been like a few years or decades we're talking about?
He's been, I believe this is going to be his third run. So he's been there for about fourth run. He was formerly our city council person, and he was there for a couple of terms as well. So we have a kind of an interesting thing going on in California. Um, uh, Politicians who are, I guess you can say, um, that's their job now, is just to be a politician. And what they do is they trade places. So Alex Padilla is part of, Rudy Martinez is part of this now. She's new. Felipe Fuentes, Tony Cárdenas, Antonio Villaraigosa. It's these Latinx politicians end up trading spots in order to be able to stay in power for whether they have term limits or what have you. They end up trading off in order to be able to stay in their position or, in power for as long as possible. It's been going on, I would say, since like the mid 90s, is when I was a kid. I remember these guys, you know, kind of, even my mom was a supporter of Tony Cárdenas, way back from to his a couple of races back for council for Congress. But it was very even clear to her that the our representatives do not represent the people. In fact, my mom, who was a liar ever since she was able to vote, ever since she became a citizen, went green before I did, which was very funny. My brother and her went green out of out of frustration right after, and I think my mom did before the primary. So my mom's pretty innovative when it comes to that. She's an inspiration. And I attended the Green convention, AFEC convention last year, and it was a whole different world. That's what I expected at the DNC, and that is not what we got. It was a real, true convention where people actually got to speak and discuss ideas, unlike what we experienced, which was a horror that we just had to sit through.
Oh my! So I think I read you were a delegate for the Democratic National Convention last year.
Yes, yes, I was selected by the Bernie campaign to be at as a PLEO, which is a party leader elected official delegate, since I have been a member of a neighborhood council. So that's how I was selected. I was not um, the one that got picked. You know how it was like each got their own delegates, right? I didn't win a spot. I was actually too low, but our top female and our top male were amazing, and we did a lot of work while we were in Philadelphia. We tried our best, and but the experience of what we went through during the primary prior to that, Marys went in other states, and all the shenanigans, what we saw after WikiLeaks were released, this Russia propaganda. Um, I mean, it just it's never ending.
It's
Once you think
Russia.
that it can't get worse, it gets even worse. And right now it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's Russia 24/7.
It's
It's
yeah,
like we can't talk about anything productive.
it's gross.
It's Russia,
It's
Russia,
gross.
Russia. So
It
so
really is.
you like transformed into the Green Party after the convention, like a lot of Bernie Sanders people did. Did that really happen in your community as well?
Yeah, we did have a big group after the DNC. That was the plan for many of us, Bernie or bust folk, right? Green was the other option. So we've actually built a great community here in Los Angeles. The Greens have been growing and here in Los Angeles, Southern California. We're doing great, amazing work. We're staying active. We're still meeting. We try not to have a bunch of meetings. What we try and do is have actions. We do meet for planning and for regular upkeep, but we try and keep active with the people and be on the ground. And that's really what we've been focusing since September, October, was building, the Green Party here in Los Angeles and being active, getting to know the people, building coalitions with other progressive groups, and becoming known in our community, in the activist world, in the progressive world, and amongst our people here in Los Angeles.
Well, that's amazing stuff. So basically, there's a lot of issues, and it has been going on for years, right, in your community, and they're not really doing anything about it, right? Is that a good overview of what's going on?
No, that's accurate. Our district um, is, I mean, it has such potential. It has very beautiful spots, but unfortunately, some folks kind of can see our area as the ugly area or the ugly part of Los Angeles. Divided we've been. We have truck yards. We have um, uh, gosh, I forget what rock quarries. We have facilities, and we have all these dirty industry here in our area. We have, I believe we're like the auto dismantling capital of the world or something
Oh my.
like that. We have a lot yards, where folks get parts from, and things of that sort. Our streets are destroyed because of all the trucks that go through our area, and many from folks that work far away elsewhere, or just they just park their vehicles in our area, and every day they go ahead and drive them through our streets, and away to where they're actually doing their work. So we are getting the pollution, we're getting our streets that are destroyed, and which adds on to the look in our area. Our area is not nice in some spaces of our, and it becomes down to we're being ignored by those in power, from the city to the state to the federal level. I think that CD29 is in many ways, environmentally, health-wise. We have people who have huge problems, breathing problems, mostly due to of all the pollution through our city in our area. We have people who have a lack of jobs here in our area. We have a lack of access to paths to education. So we do have a great colleges in our area, but the thing is that our students are not being properly prepared for college, for university, which makes it that much harder. I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done here in our district, and this is something that just can't wait. We need to get started, we need to get going, and it needs to be now.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of stuff that has been going on in the district, and there's a lot of pollution. You said as a reason for all these cars and all these lots and stuff in the district. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We have an airport. We have actually 3 airports in our district. We have track lines that go through here. We also have the rock quarries. We have parking yards where trucks, buses, all kinds of vehicles that end up just parking their vehicle. They're going to go through our streets, and they're stop and go, and there's street traffic, which creates even more pollution. It's really we're in a dire state here in Congressional District 29th of California.
And if the people were to support you and get you as an elected official, what would you see yourself doing to specifically resolve that situation? What are the community activists or people in the community wanting that the current representation is not getting them at all? Or is there anything in particular that a lot of people are asking or demanding for as far as resolving the pollution issues?
Absolutely. We're asking our representatives to speak up for us and be firm as far as the restrictions of how many vehicles can be in our community. Properties start off as something else. For example, there was one property, a big property here in our area, that started off as a golf course, more like a putting course. And little by little, the space, as far as the golf part of it all, and the rest of it has turned into a big giant semi-truck parking lot. So now we have 100 trucks going through, in and out in the morning, in and out in the evening, and the people around there are breathing in all these toxins. There's a elementary school just across the street from there. So, a lot of these properties start off as one thing in their permits, and there's no consequences that are being served for these folks. Again, with lighting and how our community doesn't look nice. We have a property that starts permitted for apartments, or it's permitted as a parking lot, and it turns into a recycling center, and not a nice recycling center, a not pretty looking recycling center, things of that sort. And that's what happens in our community over and over and over. These companies that are making money, they're making profit in our community, but they're not giving back. They're not giving back. So what I think that our representatives need to do is speak up for the community, create restrictions where these not allowed to do what they're doing, minimize, create programs where they are able to contribute back to the community. I mean, the list goes on. I do believe that all vehicles need to be going towards, electric or hybrid, clean energy burning, and all of that. A lot of the bus fleets have turned to clean burning energy, so that's a little bit of an ease in some areas, but it's minimal. It's minimal. So I think it's important for our representatives to stand up for laws that will protect the community, that will protect us, our children. I'm a mother. My kids go to LAUSD schools that are right next to a train track. This air, they're breathing this air. So I have a lot of at stake, you can say. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my community. I'm doing this for all of us. And I think that we, as Greens, San Fernando Valley Greens, Green Party of California, Green Party of U.S., we all stand for peace. We all stand for the environment. We stand for equality. We stand for, um, and so I think that more people, more good people need to do this. Speak truth to power. Stand up. It's not easy, but we can do it. The people are with, and if you make your message heard, people will resonate and people will support you. And I think that our campaign is looking really good. For the fact that we've only been a little bit over a month ago, but we haven't gotten started with our fundraising till about 2 weeks ago, and it's going great. Our teams are building, and we're very excited.
Awesome. Awesome. That is great to hear. And, tell us a little bit more. I guess my question is tell us a little bit more about the Green Party for people who don't know about the Green Party. You were talking about it a little bit there, and tell them why the Green Party is, a vehicle of change instead of, reforming the Democratic Party.
Yes. Well, the Green Party platform really spoke to me. If you folks are familiar with the Bernie platform, it's almost only the foreign policy is even better. It stands for peace, and it stands for justice, and it stands for it stands against imperialism. It calls for closing down of the military. It calls for justice for Palestine. So there's a little bit of differences there. It's like Bernie but better, I guess you can say. If you're familiar with Bernie and the Green Party, only the international standing is even better. And instead of just free college, we stand for forgiveness of school, federal government, a Green New Deal. As the Green Party is built upon values, which is something that's very a breath of fresh air, I guess you can say, where we can see that a party can be built on good things. It's not perfect, right? We have a lot of people in our party and a lot of different personalities and egos and all that stuff. However, the folks in the party have a way of being open and communicating, and there is room for dissent in the Green Party. So it's really very interesting to watch and to be able to see that change can happen. We can make it better, and actually the youth, the young Greens, are a very important force right now. They're getting better, stronger, and becoming even better organized. I think that The Green Party has so much room for growth, obviously, and the sky's the limit. I think that if we can really focus on outreach and becoming more of a active part of our communities, we can make that clear that folks do have an option, they do have a choice, and the Green Party has quite a few moment. I think it's about 160 folks elected right now, and we have a pretty good run as far as when we run for office. We have a decent success rate. I think it's like in the 30% there. So we are becoming more organized and better. The old, old school greens, those greens that have been around since the 80s, the 90s, are a great wealth of information. They've worked so to get us to where we are today. I think it's almost, I don't want to say hilarious, but I think it's really interesting. Those folks are talking about starting a brand new party at this time, a people's party, draft Bernie, etc. It takes a whole lot of work to get to where the Green Party is at now. The access that we have, ballot access that is, it's not easy. Folks have been working 20 years, and this is how far we've gotten. And it's not because they haven't been doing a good job. It's because there have been so many roadblocks put on third parties since the 80s on forward that's what's made it really hard and almost impossible for any third party to really be successful in the United States. Libertarian, Peace and Freedom, PSL, the list goes on. La Raza Unida, right? There are so many roadblocks put by the corporations, by the Republican Party, by the powers that be, and they are backed and supported by the mainstream media, with a huge part at our lack of access and our lack of being able to get to the people. We are ignored as though we're not even there, as we're not part of, when we might be even more active with our community than the other candidates. So I think that there's a lot stacked up against us, but our group, our people, are in a lot of brain, and we're passionate, and we're not going anywhere. So this is just the process. Right now we're learning the process, and we're getting better at it, with our Green Party elders and mentors, and with the support of the new Greens, the former Bernie supporters who have gone green, and other young Greens in our community, both in school and out in the regular world, right, into the regular workforce. We have all been coming together and really focusing on growth and organizing. East Side Greens out in East Los Angeles have been doing amazing work. Central Los Angeles Greens have been doing a great work. The Kenneth Congressional race last year have come from that. So I think that it was a success. His campaign was a success. We have built so much upon the work that he has done, and things are only getting better. So we're hoping that we can take advantage of the momentum we have going, take advantage that the people are paying attention and that people really want change. And I think that the environment right now, it's really in a state of emergency. I mean, look at what just happened today, right? I mean, I'm in disbelief. I was reading about it right before we got on, and it's so sad. It's so sad, and this is not anything new. This is an America that has been, and it will be for a good while. These folks are just now emboldened, and they are empowered with the Trump rhetoric and this nationalistic sickness that they are basing their hatred on. They're rationalists, they're racists, and this is the time for us to stand up, make our voices heard, and not be deterred by any of these horrific injustices to people. Violence today, we saw in Virginia. We have had people being harassed, people being threatened, people being pushed out of their communities out of fear, and that's what we want to stand up against.
Absolutely. I saw part of that, today, and it was pretty crazy. They're running over people, and the president doesn't. I want to get your thoughts a little bit more about that, because the president is not really denouncing this, act of violence. Like, he denounced it, like, from all sides, but in reality, what do you think about the president not really commenting or even denouncing the Pacific group that's doing this?
I haven't seen anything that he said so far, but as far as his attitude and his words that he speaks, he has a tendency to instigate, to kind of validate their actions. It really makes them feel that they're in the right. The president doesn't stand up against it. He doesn't denounce. What it is terrorism. What they're doing is terrorism. And just like it was terrorism in London, just like it was terrorism in Paris, this is terrorism. And this crowd of people were peacefully demonstrating.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that these white supremacists are a danger. They are the terrorists. We have a giant group of men and women who are brought together. The idea that their race is superior to the rest of the world. I mean, it's quite ridiculous. And you have the police just standing by and allowing for this violence to happen. It's scary. Absolutely. We're in a police state. I think it's very clear that that some of these police officers are a problem. And not just your beat cop. We're talking, high up in the ranks. We're talking the chief of police in these cities. We're talking about the sheriff in these counties. They're the problem. They are empowering the hate that's being spewed by these people.
Absolutely. And, it's exactly what you said, they wouldn't really stopping these people from doing their violence. And, I thought the police was supposed to protect everybody, I thought that's what it's supposed to be for, that's what I was a favorite too. So that's definitely something, that is very important as well. I'm glad you mentioned about it, because we definitely need to get that out there. That's true. So, is there anything else that we didn't really touch upon? So basically, from my understanding, from what, we talked about a little bit, is that, Congressional District 29, it has a lot of pollution. And there's a lot of potential for it to be a better community. And the part that you mentioned that is interesting is that there is a high school, like a elementary school across from where they're doing this stuff.
Well, on everywhere. We in our district, it's really quite sad. We have a giant truck yard across the street from an elementary school, which the truck yard used to be a dump, and that elementary school was also across from it. So it's a long time that we've been having these issues. I remember all of this as a child. I never thought growing up that Sun Valley reflected its name name, Sun Valley. I love the name Sun Valley. I love, but how we have been treated by the city and by the county, it does not uh, make our city that much better, which has a lot of potential. There have been huge improvements from when I was a kid, but the the pollution is still there. We have junior highs, high freeways, right next to factories, right next to a lot of these dirty uh, pollutants that there's no way for them to get away from. You're going to school, you're walking in between classes, even if you're staying indoors. This stuff is coming prevents. It's a big problem. I mean, they're trying to build senior housing right next to the freeways because these developers are just trying to make a profit off of any little inch of land that they see.
Oh my.
Shortage of
So,
housing, that is true. However, we can't be building homes next to freeway. Senior homes at that. These folks are at more of a higher risk than the younger community. So after evaluating that space, for example, it was determined that to build all of these filters to create double-plated windows so the pollution does not go in. They want to build a pool for the senior citizens, but they need to build a dome over it because the air quality is so horrible that it's impossible for these buildings to be approved without all these restrictions. So that should tell us that those spaces are not built for or are not made for housing. We have a lack of trees. We have very few trees in our district. We have a very few green spaces in our district. All of these things addressed. Open spaces for our community to spend time in, for for our environment to be able to clean itself. We have a lack of all of that, and I think that we need to make a more of an emphasis or a better community. And one important thing too is that we are a community of immigrants. With Donald Trump in office, it has created a lot of uncertainty in our community, both our kids as far, and the adults, both those who are documented and not. It's scary. It's really scary times, and we feel that our representatives need to do speaking up for the people, of standing their ground and making it clear that they're there for us, not for themselves, not for their pocketbooks, not for their own benefits, not to give jobs to their not to give to their siblings or what have you, but to take care of the people.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It looks like did he stop there? I think I heard everything out. Okay, well that's very important. And I appreciate you joining the program. I greatly appreciate that. Please visit her campaign website on this description in the video. There is a Facebook page description and a crowd pack page.
Yes.
And tell your viewers also what is the best way to donate as well, and Twitter and Facebook and all social media platforms.
I will have to share all of that with you once we get off right here. But we do have our Facebook page and our Crowd Pack page at the moment. The best way to donate would be through our Crowd Pack page. We will be having user events. As time goes by, we should be having 2 a month at least between now and December, starting in September. So we're very excited about that. But Yes, the crowd page would be the best place to our campaign. And please keep an eye out to um, our Facebook page because we will be releasing our website in the next couple of weeks. And we're very excited about that. So you can get to learn about our platform, and it's very crystal clear that we are the campaign, we are the party that will be fighting for and with the people. And we're very excited for what we have coming our way.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining the program. I appreciate it. Everyone, check out her website. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great well, it's evening this side. I don't know over there. It's like one-ish over there.
It's 2:30.
Ah, it's 5:30, so we're 3 hours apart. Well, thank you so much for joining our program today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Michaelangelo, for having us here. We appreciate it, and we can't wait to come back.
No problem. You're welcome anytime. Take care.